South African was recently elected to the executive board of the International Wool Textile Organisation, or IWTO. He joins us now to talk about his career in the wool industry and contribution internationally.
My name is Paul Lynch. I've been in the wool industry for this year 40 years, the only industry I've ever been in. My father said there was an advertisement out for a computer program in the wool industry. 1,000 Rand a month was the salary, and he said from a career point of view, maybe that's where I should go. And I started off in 1985 and started writing computer programs, and then got into the wool store, and then got into the trading, and then sort of, obviously worked myself sort of up the ladder kind of thing, just from an experience point of view. In 2003, I left the company that I started with and moved across to Standard Wool, South Africa. And shortly after I'd moved across, the head office decided to close it down. And then myself and my business partner, Mark Wright, said, well, let's take a chance and see if we can run a wool company by ourselves. Not many people gave us sort of much chance to be able to make a go of it. But within 5 years of us starting our own business, we were the number one buyers in the country. So it showed with a little bit of dedication and a fair amount of luck, I'll be perfectly honest, that it is possible. And we're still around in 2025. So my involvement in the industry has been sort of quite extensive. I've been chairman of SAWAMBA, which is the South African Wool and Mohair Buyers Association, on a number of occasions. I've served on that committee for must be 18, 19, 20 years. Presently, I'm on the Cape Wool's board. I was chairman for 3 years. And recently, I've just been appointed to the IWTO executive committee. So, very involved in the industry, love the people that we meet, and love the fibre. And I think that's the important thing.
So, Paul, who exactly is the IWTO?
So the IWTO stands for the International Wool Textile Organisation. They are sort of the overarching body that represents probably the world wool industry. So there's a lot of statutes that have to be followed with regards to wool. Excuse me. There's testing that has to be done. And then they control all the tests to make sure that the tests are up to an international standard. And they, as I say, represent the wool-producing countries. And there are obviously many. The main ones are Australia, ourselves, South Africa, Argentina, New Zealand, Uruguay. So there's a lot of wool-producing countries. And they're the ones who just have the overarching. So if there's any issues that are raised within the industry, they obviously try and help resolve those. Plus, they do a lot of work in Brussels because there's lots of challenges facing natural fibres from the European Parliament with regards to sustainable wools and ethically treated animals, etc., etc. So it's a very important organisation in the wool industry. And so they represent us. Their main function is actually up in Brussels, and that's where they're based. So a very important organisation for the South African wool farmers.
And what would your contribution be internationally?
Well, in the past, we used to have a chap, Wolf Edmeyer. He was the chairman there for a number of years, but we haven't had a representative on the ExCom for a number of years. And then a position opened, and our executive committee in South Africa decided to put my name forward. I think because of the experience that I have and obviously serving on a number of boards. But the important thing is that, I represent South Africa. So decisions get made up there, and we are a very important cog in the international wool sort of industry with regards to the wool that our producers produce. So my representation, which I've sort of put my hand up with regards to the portfolio I'm going to sort of cover there, is going to be a link between the executive committee of IWTO and the younger generation, because at the end of the day, the younger generation are the people who drive demand, and they're the consumers of the future. And we've got a lot of young professionals that come to the IWTO conference every year, and there was a great bunch this year. So it's to actually tap into what they feel about wool, what their peers feel about wool and how they can assist us to actually sort of promote our product and make sure the big drive this year from the executive committee and the industry is to keep our producers on the land. The prices aren't that great. Lots of challenges facing the producers around the world. So that's a big focus for the IWTO, the EXCOM this year going forward.
Paul, the South African industry, do you think we are on the international wool stage?
Without a doubt. We're very fortunate. As most of the farmers know what mulesing is, South Africa is completely and 100% non-mules, whereas Australia have a number of, the large majority of their sheep are actually mules. And a lot of the European brands are saying that they will only take non-mules wool. And obviously, we produce the most of that in the world. And the other thing is what we have is what's called the Responsible Wool Standard, RWS. We produce from, I would say, 19.5 micron through to 22 micron, was probably 90% of the world's wool in that micron range. And the RWS, for the people who are not aware of it, it's a standard that looks after the animals, and obviously the non-mulesing is a big assist there, and how you manage your farm, how you look after your laborers, etc., etc. So a lot of the brands are saying that they want RWS, and the premiums that people are getting now, the farmers, are between sometimes 8 and 15% on their wool, which is a great incentive for them. The margins or the premiums hadn't been that great in the last sort of 2 years, but the premiums are coming back now. And it's a really good thing. So that sets us apart because we supply the world with the majority of the sustainable wools. We've also got the Cape Wool Sustainable Wool Standard, which is also starting to be accepted. But internationally, the RWS is the world norm at the moment for our wool producers. Some of the wool producers don't want to do it because they think it's a lot of work and what have you. It is a lot of work, but if you're getting 10 to 12% premium on your wool, then obviously that's a very good thing for them.
And that was Paul Lynch. He was recently elected to the executive board of the IWTO.